Hey there, it's Lacey J, here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message, a question, fan mail, even hate mail. We'll respond on YouTube. Also, please remember to rate and review the podcast on your favorite app or share it with someone you know who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s. It's season 5. Welcome to episode 0. To the cool kids. The ones that listen to this are also probably the ones that watch the YouTube videos. So welcome to season 5. And how is all my hosts doing?
Awesome.
Doing great.
Are you excited to be back?
Jinx.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
I really can't believe, this is the second to last time we're going to have a first season episode. We're so close to the end. I'm just, kind of in shock about it all. But, all right. So, today, we're going to do something a little bit different than our previous season 2 and season 3 recaps. Instead of reviewing what each character did last season, we're going to explore Lost Destiny Calls, which aired January 21st, 2009, right before the season 5 premiere. So I thought that would be fun because within this video are interviews with Carlton, Cuse, and Damon Lindelof, and they kind of chat about the first 4 seasons, and I thought it would be cool to hear what they had to say before going into season 5. So, lucky for us, Ben and Derek have agreed to dramatically read what Lindelof and Cuse.
I didn't agree to dramatically read anything. I just said I'd read it.
That's not in my contract.
So like I said, they have agreed to dramatically read what Lindelof and Cuse had to say about seasons 1 through 4. All right, guys, let's get started with Lost Destiny Calls. The episode begins with early scenes from the show flashing across the screen while a narrator speaks. We're not going to rehash the scenes played in the episode, but instead, like I mentioned, focus on what Lindelof and Cuse had to say. So while these early scenes from the show are playing, the narrator says,
Oceanic Flight 815 crashed in the South Pacific. 48 people survived on a mysterious island far from home.
Dun dun.
They fought for survival. After 108 days, 6 people found rescue, but the friends they left behind vanished. Now, destiny calls,
Ooh.
and the 6 who came home must find a way to return.
Dun dun.
The story of the survivors of Oceanic Flight 815 has captured the imagination of audiences around the globe, and tonight we explore the many reasons why.
Ooh.
Was that dramatic enough?
Yeah.
Very dramatic.
I have chills.
All righty.
It could just be
Derek.
COVID, though.
All right. Ben will be playing the role of Damon Lindelof, and Derek will be Carlton Cuse. So let's see what they had to say.
Ultimately, anybody could crash on an island like this. And the idea of being surrounded by strangers and getting to reinvent yourself in some way is sort of really identifiable. The show has a sort of reputation for being crazy and wacky and weird and strange, but 90% of our day is talking about the people on the show, what they would do, how they would feel, who's fighting with who had a crush on who. And that's the part of it that's really, really fulfilling for us.
Well, I think that the reason people like these characters is that they see themselves in them.
The show is about the same things that life is. It's about love. It's about forgiveness. It's about redemption. It's about pain. It's about excitement.
The idea that they have a chance at redemption because of where they are on this mysterious island that allows us to tell, I think, fairly universal stories about the human condition.
Oh, that's interesting. That sounds like most good sci-fi to me, right?
Very true.
Right. I mean, that's the thing I think that people don't understand about sci-fi fantasy to a bit. But when you add things like magic and stuff, actually, no, I'm going to take that back. With fantasy as well, that the real good sci-fi fantasy stories, the sci-fi and the fantasy is sort of like the background, but the real story is about the people, right? You know, like Star Wars is a love story on top of like a, you know, revolution kind of story.
Galactic War, yes.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
it's simply about giant space lasers.
Oh, well,
Yes.
okay.
And Death Stars.
But I think
I got it. The Death Star of David. Jewish space lasers.
There we go.
I was wondering if anyone was going to bring that up.
I have to think that there's got to be some franchise rights in there somewhere.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking that what Cuse said there about the reason people like these characters is because they see themselves in them. You know, like how many times did Christy and I have we said like, oh gosh, when we watched this in our 20s, we were just, you know, it was everything Kate, right? And now that we're in our 40s, we're like, ooh, she's kind of like a 20-something.
Selfish.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I agree with him in that regard. Do you think that too, guys? Have you seen yourself in any of the characters?
Oh, less and less, to be honest. I actually see a lot, like a little bit of Locke and a little bit of Jack.
Okay.
In me, I don't like that. That's really it. But I think I identified a lot with Jack when I was younger. But now, the older I get, the more I'm kind of going down the same route that I did with Kate. Like with Kate, I still would totally want to bang her, but outside of that, like she's just not. She's not the heroine that I thought she was. Right? She's just sort of an impetuous little child, and yeah. And it doesn't help that her episodes have been kind of some of the lamest episodes.
Well, yeah. Derek, what about you? Do you see yourself in any of the characters?
I started off with Jack, you know, thinking like, you know, that'd be how I'd be, but no, not anymore, because he's just, you know, a whiny little bitch at times. I see myself more as Locke.
Okay, yeah, I have the Locke Jack kind of like dichotomy pulling me. I think I've mentioned that before. How like in real life, I'm more like Jack, the logical, you know, kind of guy. But in the show, I always really felt like I was channeling Locke because like it's fantasy, you know, and I want to believe and I want there to be some other purpose.
Right.
Yeah. If we're being nerds about it, Locke is the paladin.
Are we in Dungeons and Dragons?
D&D action.
Yeah, you know, I was going to bring that up, I guess was probably next week, right? Because we get a glimpse of Ana Lucia, and we just watched, Ben and I, the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Have you seen that yet?
No.
It's actually really good.
Great. I was
it's really funny.
I was shocked at how good it is. And Ana Lucia, of course, she plays a barbarian. So she's just, again, like an ass-whooping chick, which is cool. But yeah, so watch it to anyone. You two and the listeners. Watch the D&D movie. It's fucking great. I was so shocked. All right, let's move on to the next section here. Lindelof and Cuse had a few things to say about the Dharma Initiative. Fellas?
The Dharma Initiative was on the island back in the 70s and early 80s. What brought the Dharma Initiative to the island, it depends on whether or not you believe these orientation films that the characters keep finding. All we really know about Dharma is what we see in the films. The Dharma Initiative says they came to the island to make the world a better place, but when you look a little closer at these hatches, it feels like they were into psychological experiments. Every one of these hatches is loaded with guns, so they seem to have a bit more militaristic, or to be a bit more militaristic than we originally surmised.
They set up their own utopian society, and they were trying to carry out these various experiments, but when they discovered, there's these indigenous people on the island called the Others, or the Hostiles.
Yeah, and Richard Alpert is the guy behind the guy.
He is an other, a very mysterious figure, and we have seen him in sort of advisory role. We saw him visit John Locke when he was a very little kid. The thing about Alpert is that he always looks the same in all the different time periods that we've seen him. John Locke seems to be the guy that the island wants to be leading.
Seems. I like how they say seems there a few times to leave you wondering about that. Who wants to know more about the indigenous hostiles in Alpert? And is Locke really what the island wants? What do you guys think?
I don't think that the island knows what it wants.
I don't think the writers at this point know what the island wants. I think they were really just, after about season 1 or 2, it feels like they were just kind of winging it, to be honest.
Oh, so you're on Ado's side. That's Ado's theory.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah. Ado's convinced that they didn't know. But what you have to understand is that by this time, with season 5, like, they announced that a season ago that the show was going to be 6 seasons. And, they started season 4 with the beginning of the end. So I have a feeling they knew where it was headed. Like, maybe they didn't know what every episode was going to be, but I feel like when they were writing the back half of the show, those last 3 seasons, that they had to have some sort of endpoint. You don't think so?
Well, by season 3, they had determined that it was going to be 6 seasons.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, like, as they were writing, they knew where the end point was, and I'm assuming they had some idea where they were going. Maybe not. I don't know. You seemed surprised.
Think by now.
Yeah, you seemed surprised, Derek, when Ben said that. You feel like they have a plan?
I think they have somewhat of a plan. Maybe a vague idea.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying
riding
too.
Into just flying by the seat of their pants.
Uh-huh. Gotcha.
I think they had a definitive beginning and a definitive ending, but they didn't necessarily know how to go from point A to point B.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way of saying what I was trying to say. Like,
same. That's what I was trying to say too.
It meanders. It meanders a lot in the middle seasons.
It does. But
again,
it's
not that it's bad. It's good. It's just it is. Sometimes it's like, wait, every season they're like, wait. I feel like they're trying to kind of up the ante each season a little bit, and that kind of makes it. But that's also kind of what makes it a good show.
Yeah,
right?
But the meandering thing, I think, like we've talked about that, is that it's not one of these 10-episode streaming shows. This was a all year, every week, 20-something episode show, at least in the first few seasons.
Sure.
And so there's always that room to kind of meander.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a victim of its own format sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why we have Expose and Stranger in a Strange Land.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right.
So did Lindelof and Cuse have anything to say about Faraday's wanking or Rocky Dennis's face?
I'm guessing not. That's a fatuous question.
Not exactly, but they did confirm our suspicions that the science team, including Lapidus, their ride, had a totally different mission than Creamy Keemy and the Merc team. They also had some interesting things to say about Daddy Dearest Charles Widmore and the Oceanic Six. Fellas?
This guy, Charles Widmore, looms out there, and we don't know what exactly his relationship is with the island. We know that he has a daughter named Penny, the long-lost love of our character Desmond.
There's this sort of wrinkle. Oceanic 815 supposedly was discovered on the bottom of the ocean, and everybody aboard was dead, which is not the truth because their plane crashed on the island. Wow, who could possibly be responsible for staging a conspiracy of this magnitude? Ben basically says it was Widmore, and Widmore says Linus is responsible. The scenario is really bad because the freighter has found the island, and the others have been trying to protect the island all this time. Locke has basically been told that he is now the chief of the others. He's finally, after all this time, ascended to a leadership position. So the fact that Widmore now knows where the island is creates a problem for them, which is, even if they're able to get rid of the people on the boat, they still have to make sure that the island can't be found again. 6 of them came back to civilization. They're Jack, Kate, Hurley, Saeed's son, and baby Aaron.
These people, who will be known as the Oceanic Six, decide to lie. They want to protect everybody that was left on the island, so they go along with this lie, and this becomes a part of their cover story. They quickly discover that they really didn't have much in the way of lives back in the real world. There was this sort of gnawing feeling that maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they shouldn't have left the island in the first place. Sun is kind of in a tragic place.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, the last time we saw her, she was actually having this sort of secret meeting with Charles Widmore, who, last we checked, was a bad guy. We know the only other person who's left the island, and that's Benjamin Linus, via some sort of unconventional means. He basically pushes this wheel underground in a cavern somewhere. He gets bathed in light, and then suddenly he wakes up in the desert in Tunisia in the middle of nowhere. To all the people in Tunisia, sorry for that. It's not really the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
It's in the middle of nowhere in Tunisia.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Sorry on behalf of Damon Lindelof, folks. Okay. Lastly, before we head on to episode 1, I love what Cuse and Lindelof have to say about Jack and Locke and what's to come in season 5. We'll pick up their commentary just after they discuss the big reveal that Claire is Jack's sister and how it leads to Jack's descent into drug addiction and regret.
He's not a happy guy, and I think when you see how getting off the island has affected Jack, maybe in fact this reinforces the notion that they have a greater destiny and that the destiny is on the island.
When Jack finds out that Locke is dead, he's so devastated that he tries to kill himself. He goes and gets on a bridge and is going to jump. And you go, wow, why is Jack so upset that Locke is dead?
I think what he comes to realize is they're kind of two sides of the same coin. In a way, they need each other, and the island needs both of them in a way that Jack doesn't really understand until that point. They go, and what are the consequences of that flash of white light?
We've basically spent 5 years with these people now. What's cool to us about season 5 is that the show is finding a new gear. It's starting to slip into that mode of answering more questions than it's asking. We really get the sense that the characters are moving towards something.
Yeah, there's a mystery to Lost, but each season of the show is a book, and this book has its own particular characteristics. There's some really great adventure storytelling in this season that the audience is really going to love.
Christy, the last dramatic reading is for us. It's how Lost Destiny Calls ends. I'll be Jack, you'll be Kate. Ready?
Yeah.
We made a mistake. We're not supposed to leave.
Yes, we were.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back. That was in honor of Dave, of course.
Yes.
All right.
Was that Matthew Fox or Matthew Sheep? We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back.
All right. That's it for this quick little episode. You guys can go and download episode 1 of season 5 right now and listen to it. It's called Because You Left. It's an ensemble cast episode. And it is, of course, a Derek episode. And I think you should go listen to it right now. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacey J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook and SpaceBear_Media on Instagram and Threads. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube for extra video content. Or for everything in one place, go to spacebearmedia.com.